Hello and welcome to our flip video lesson, Remarkable Cities, lesson 4.12. Your lesson 4.12 details are your Human Odyssey reading pages 131 to 134, your student guide workbook pages 127 to 130, your OMS assignment is assessment 4.12, and then about the topic is the Indus Valley civilizations and why there is not much known. One quick note, if you look in your student guide, it says lesson 11 at the top. This is lesson 12, so it's 4.12. What are we learning about today? Unit 4 lesson objectives. So we're going to talk some more about how the people of the Indus River Valley relied on and used the Indus River to create a civilization. We're going to talk about explaining how archaeologists and historians have limited information about the Indus Valley civilization. We're going to identify major features and innovations of Mohenjo-Daro and other Indus cities. And then we're going to recognize theories on why the Indus Valley civilization declined. And again, note, sometimes it's pronounced Indu, sometimes it's pronounced Indus or Indus. So you can use it interchangeably. Lesson introduction, Remarkable Cities. Historians know less about the early settlers of the Indus Valley than they do about the civilizations of ancient Egypt or Mesopotamia. What they do know indicates that the Indus Valley civilization was highly developed. The members of this society planned orderly cities, developed a sophisticated method for determining weights and measures, built intricate underground plumbing systems, and invented a type of writing that we are still puzzling over today. Archaeologists have unearthed many artifacts near the Indus River. Thousands of Indus Valley artifacts bear some form of writing, but so far, scholars have not figured out how to read it. So now turn to your student guide, open it up to page 129. Mohenjo-Daro. Question number 1. What were some of the features and innovations of Mohenjo-Daro and other Indus cities? So there were neatly planned city blocks with broad main streets and narrow side streets. Streets were formed nearly perfect grids. Brick houses of 2 stories or more, a standardized system of weights and measure, uniform bricks, indoor baths, which think about that way back in ancient civilizations, toilets connected by an underground system of drains and water chutes, and in Mohenjo-Daro, a large building situated on a mound in the center of town which contained a granary and a public bath. And a granary is a place where grain is made and sold. Well, grain is changed from the harvested product into grain. Question number 2. What do archaeologists believe was the function of the signature or stamp seals? Seals were designed to leave an imprint in wet clay. Merchants and officials each had a stamp and used it to identify goods that belonged to them. Question number 3. What have archaeologists learned about the civilization that once flourished in the Indus Valley? People lived in well-planned cities, again, like grid-like street systems and indoor plumbing sanitation systems. This indicated that they had some form of government. There was a standardized system of weights and other measures. There was a surplus of food, as evident by the large granary in Mohenjo-Daro. The society had a division of labor, as evidenced by the discovery of artifacts such as tools, mirrors, pots and pans, jewelry, and children's toys. People traded with other civilizations in Mesopotamia, Iran, and Central Asia. The people had a form of writing that archaeologists and historians have not been able to decipher. People worship deities, which are gods. A deity is a godlike being. And then by 1500 BC, the Indus Valley civilization had mostly faded away. One reason was that the Indus River changed its course over time, bringing floods that disrupted the farming. Other theories further explain the civilization's disappearance: deforested land, salinization of the soil, disease. Some people say maybe there was an earthquake, some natural disaster, so they really don't know exactly why the Indus Valley declined. Question number 4. Why do archaeologists and historians still have many questions about this ancient civilization? They have not been able to decipher the writing of the Indus Valley civilization. So much, if you think back to other civilizations that have been studied, the discovery of the Rosetta Stone allowed archaeologists and historians the ability to decipher certain writings and certain language. There's been nothing like that found for the Indus River Valley, so they're not able to decipher what was meant by their language. Question number 5. Theories that explain the decline of the Indus Valley civilization. Inhabitants of the Indus Valley may have deforested their land. Irrigation may have made the soil salty and unfit for agriculture. Diseases may have decimated the population. And again, not noted here, but there is a theory that a natural disaster came along and the population declined as well. So this is on page 130 of your student guide, Drawing Conclusions. These are some great questions to ask yourself and then to be able to fill in the answer. Conclusion number 1, the cities of the Indus Valley had a strong centralized government. What do you know about that? How can you draw that conclusion? How can you determine that they had a strong centralized government? So right now, think of yourself as a historian using the artifacts that archaeologists have found to try and answer that question. Question number 2, or conclusion number 2, the people of the Indus Valley had a highly developed division of labor. Again, using the artifacts and the information that you found in your reading book, your Human Odyssey reading book, in this book right here, and what we've talked about in this video, how can you tell that they had a highly developed division of labor? And conclusion number 3, the people of the Indus Valley carried on trade with neighboring civilizations. Again, how can you conclude that? What inferences can you make to determine that they did carry on trade with neighboring civilizations? And then which of the following evidence do you think is more valuable? Written documents from several sources or stories passed through generations? Why do you think they're valuable? How do you think they're valuable? And why do you think they're valuable? And which do you think is more valuable? So those are questions to ask yourself and questions to do with your learning coach. Again, make sure you're doing your reading pages 131 to 134 to help organize your thoughts. Important vocabulary words to understand. Grid pattern. A grid is a network of evenly spaced horizontal and vertical lines. Standardized means cause something to conform to a standard, keeping it the same as others. Decipher means to succeed in understanding, interpreting, or identifying something. And unearth means to find something in the ground by digging. Discover something hidden, lost, or kept secret by investigation or by searching. And here we come to our quote section. A great city is not to be confounded with a populous one. And that was said by Aristotle. Thank you so much for joining me today. Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. Have a great day.